So at the start, I focus on the nutrient that the fruit contains to select my fruit trees, and I focus on fruit trees that are not commonly seen in our zone but added to our zone, so that I don't have to deal with diseases and purchase a lot of fruit trees that you don't even see the fruits at the grocery store. So this one is a honeyberry as well. You need two for them to produce, and because they are shorter, I put them pretty much close to the end of the garden at the front so that they can have sun. So, and after a few years, I asked myself, what if those fruit trees that I introduced to the garden would be enough to help us save money? And I came to the conclusion that we usually purchase apples, pear, peaches. Therefore, it might be a good idea to introduce some of those. And during my research, I found out that those big fruit trees, apple, pear, they produce pounds of fruit when they are mature trees. Unlike the fruit trees that I introduced first, they are kind of light in their production. And you cannot have like 1 year supply of fruit from them unless you have a lot of them. So now we are looking at black currant, and black currant have its own nutrient as well, but it's sour, and I assume that will have vitamin C, but it produces well for us and is at the start of the garden. It's not a tall tree at all. It's less than 5 feet or getting close to 5 feet, but it can expand and is full of flowers now. And today is May 14, 2022. Right next to it we have raspberry. So when you are introduced fruit trees to your garden, you need to keep in mind that they take years to produce. Therefore, you might want to introduce varieties. Some of them I produce early. That way you can have some production from your garden while you are waiting on the heavy producers. So pretty much we are in front of an apple tree here, and if I can see the tag, I will show to you, but it's not producing yet. But I think that's a variety that is Honeycrisp. I think that's Honeycrisp apple tree. But again, I don't know if it's going to make Honeycrisp because it got damaged at the bottom and I left it. Right next to the apple tree, we have white currant. And we have two because I think I left, I put down the branch, close it, and anyway, I don't know how to explain it, but I try to propagate it. It's not easy for me to propagate compared to black currant. Black currant, when you prune the branches, you put them in the ground, it will sprout easily. But this one I have not figured out how to do it because it does not produce a lot of branches for me to cut some to propagate. And you'll notice that it's like few branches down compared to the other one that is growing wildly. And here we have another one, and I don't know which one is this one, but I think that would be a red. But right next to it we have red currant. So red currant, like the name is saying, it is going to be red, and I have not propagated yet, but I think those two will be related. It will be red one as well. So I don't know if it's my doing putting them here, or if that's a shoot that came from the ground. It seems to be few feet away from that one, and this one seems to be few feet away from that one. So I think I have something to do with that, with them trying to propagate them. But that's only what so far that's just how much I got down from them. So here we have black currant. From the one that we saw earlier, I pretty much prune them. So the way you prune it is, this one is the branch that grew last year. It will be lighter in color compared to the branch from the year prior to last year. So the one older, you can trim them down so that you have equal amount of the light brown and the darker brown, because the fruit will be more on the new branches. And when you prune them down, or when you think it's too crowded, you prune them down, you put them in the ground, they will grow like 1 foot long. But you do that before they start leafing out, and by next year you will have a branch that you can take out of where you put it and plant it where you want it. So just dig the branch where you want to grow it. So right next to the black currant, we have another apple tree, and this is the second year that it's flowering. Last year it produced 2 apples, but we didn't get to eat it. Something took it from the tree, we don't know what, and it has flowers on it. So we will have more fruit this year. And you'll notice it's not a big tree at all. Like you can see the trunk is still baby trunk, and we can see the tag. But before we go far, that's the apple tree we are talking about, and you can see another fruit trees right next to it, and that's blueberries. It's been producing a little bit the past 2 years, but now it's loaded with flowers. And that's just one tree, but it has at least 2 branches. And I can see the tag. The apple that have flowers on it is Wealthy Apple, and I know it's from Burn Rich website. And the blueberry is Norland Blueberry from Burnt Ridge company as well. And the blueberry can be propagated from trees. And those things that I'm moving, they are garlic. I grow garlic like perennials and just cut the leaf to chop and put in the freezer for spicing food, and leave the bulb in the ground. So we have, the blueberry has those branches. So there are not many here, but you can see the flowers on them. Right next to it, we have this trees is autumn olive. And autumn olive is known to contain antioxidants that can help prevent prostate cancer, I believe. You can read about it. It's autumn, like the way the autumn olive, and it is a nitrogen fixer. So having a nitrogen fixer in the garden while I'm growing fruit trees and vegetables can in some way help the plants around, and at the same time it has great fruits full of nutrients benefits. So last year one of the kids saw the fruit and pointed to me. It's when I knew that it started producing fruit. And this year is loaded with flowers, and it's not a big tree at all, and it's right behind the plum tree and the concord seeded vine. And I have rhubarb right behind it. And this is the base of the autumn olive tree. So you'll notice it's not a big tree. So, and the garden, I do not water. At the bottom, we have strawberries growing. We have onion or Egyptian onion in the garden, and we are just moving around. We just passed this white currant earlier, and the honeycrisp apple, but we are going to, we have another black currant that I planted here, and the mother plant is right there. So right next way we have two apple trees. They are columnar apple. They grew one trunk and have fruit next way. So this one is flowering as well, and that's the first year flowering. I don't know if you'll be able to see the flower. And you can see the tree is now wide. You know, the trunk, the branches are close to the trunk. And I have another one right next to it, but it's not flowering yet. And I let it has two trunks. So I let the other one grow, and I don't know which one is going to be the graft one anymore. But the one we are just looking at that is not flowering is Scarlet Sentinel. Scarlet Sentinel apple. And they are columnar apple. So if you do not have a lot of space in your garden, you might want to, this is the black currant. You might want to think about columnar apples varieties. They don't make wide branches, but they make branches close to the trunk. You can see the branches, so that you know it might just be one trunk with fruit on it, or branches close to it, branches close to the mother tree, not wide but just close to the mother tree to support the fruit. So that is the front yard, and those are the fruit trees we have here. We started with about 66 fruit trees. If I purchase 24 crown of strawberries, one variety, I call it as one. But if I have two varieties, that will be two. So having two columnar fruit trees that are different varieties, that's two fruit trees. That's the way I counted them. And I purchased about 66 fruit trees, vine and shrubs all included. And I have about 30 on the property right now. Some didn't produce, some died and got destroyed by bunny and deer. So when you are planting fruit trees, just to know that it takes time to start producing, but you can introduce multiple varieties from fruit trees to berries, so that you can start harvesting something while the others are growing. We have blackberries. Blackberries produce early for us, and then followed by strawberries, raspberries. And raspberries are producing now for us, while the blackberries are not producing much anymore. So, and the purpose of here is more to plant fruit trees, but at the same time we are planting onion greens like sorrel right there for salad. So we are planting fruit trees, vegetables underneath them, and as the fruit trees grow, we can decide, what to take away, where to move, to have more space to walk and all that. So, and we prune as well. So there is nothing fixed. That's why I like to grow at the ground level, because it's more the fruit trees. They are the heavy producers and can really help us lower our grocery bill. We have $60 budget for fruits in our grocery bill. $60 for fruits, and the goal is to be able to grow our own fruit trees where they grow organically. We do not fertilize we do not spray them. So we have multiple varieties, and we have vegetables. We have ground cover like strawberries, and we use fall leaves from the trees in the front yard. When we harvest them in fall, we use them to mulch the garden, and you can see the leaves on the ground. We do not water, so we grow our garden, but we save on water. We do not water our garden. Neighbors water their lawn, but we do not water our garden. And instead of having grass that we have to mow on a regular basis, which we do on the area that we don't grow, we use most of the front yard for our vegetables and fruit trees garden. So that's one way we chose to grow our own food to lower our grocery budget. So another thing I will point out is when you are choosing to start a garden to save money, you might want to think about things that are hardy to your zone, like vegetables, perennial vegetables. And you will see we have onions there, and those are perennial onions. They stay in the ground, and I just harvest the greens, chop them, and put them in the freezer for winter. We have chive in them as well. And we have sorrel. Sorrel is vegetables, green, perennials. We use it for salad, and we use it like spinach in cooking as well. It's growing right next to columnar apple tree, between the two. That's another one here. And right next way I have a grape vine, and you can see the scarlet tag, and this, that's the grape type. Usually it does not resist our winter, so it's growing from here. Chances are it's going to produce fruits, because a lot of time it'll come back from the ground. But because it's growing here, this area resists this winter, it will produce grape for the first time. So because the berry is low, I'm not going to go to the back, but the trees at the back, they are producing as well. But while we are here, we can see sorrel and we can see onion, and I've been harvesting them and freeze them. When we need now for cooking, we just come out to harvest for cooking and eating. But at the same time, I'm harvesting them, putting them in a freezer bag, and put them in the freezer for winter use, so we don't let them go to waste. And they produce onion at the top as well. Once they start doing that in summer, they won't produce much leaf until fall. So we have another sorrel, and we just make our own sourdough bread in weekend to have salad with greens from our own yard. So when you are looking for things to plant on your property to reduce your budget, you might want to think about wild plant that your property is offering you as well, so that you can take advantage of that. If you don't know them, you might want to check with a local university. There is a department there that will help you identify the wild plant on your property. Once you know the name, you search to see if they are edible or medicinal. And this is wild garlic. They are edible. You can cook it and you can eat it raw. So we are adding them in our salad now, and I'm harvesting them, chop them, and put them in the freezer for cooking in winter time. And I use them to mulch the garden. So when I'm trying to cut them down because I don't want them, I'll just put it in the ground so that they can mulch the garden. Right next way we have this plant that I have not done a lot of research on it, but it is wild lettuce. There are two varieties. One will have spike, soft spike at the back of the leaf, and both varieties have spike at the edge of the leaf. So the one that will have spike at the back of the leaf is known to be the one that you can eat, and the one that does not have the spike like this one is known to be a medicinal to use for pain. So the one with this now spike at the back is growing quite a bit amount my onions here, and times to times I will cut them down, but I'm not taking them all out because I want to do search on them to see, you know, to get to know them more, because you can make your own natural remedies. And this is dandelion, and we use them in our salad as well when we are harvesting greens for salad. So those are natural things that the land is producing for us. And this is wild garlic that we just saw earlier with the wildflower. So that's the leaf there, and those are the wild lettuce. So that is how we are using our front